Namaste and good morning, everyone. Let's do some prayers first. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhur Bhavaswaha, Tatsavitravare Vargo Devasya Dhimahi, Diyo Yo Naha Prachodayat, Asto Ma Sadgamya, Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya, Mrityurma Amritam Gamya. Om Sahna Bhavatu, Sahna Bhunatu, Sahviryam Karvavahe, Tejasvi Navadhitamastu, Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Okay, let's open our books. Guru Gita. We ended our last week's class where Parvati ji is asking, and then that was verse number 74. And then answer was given by Lord Shankar, because she had the questions about padam, pindam, rupam, and rupaatitam. So Lord Shiva said, padam is Kundalini Shakti. Pindam is Kundalini Shakti, sorry. Pindam Kundalini Shakti. Padam is prana, Hamsa. Rupam, to be blue pearl, and rupatitam, that is beyond the blue. And blue pearl over here really means the pure being. Okay, so Rup and Rupatita. So now let's see what else he is saying in order to answer these questions in verse number 76. Pinde muktaa, pade muktaa, rupe muktaa, varanane, rupatite tu ye muktaste, muktaa na atra sanshaya. Oh, beautiful one. There is no doubt that he whose Kundalini is awakened, whose pran is steady, who has seen the blue pearl, blue Bindu, and even beyond, is truly liberated. So here Bhagavan Shankar is explaining that a Guru has all these qualities actually. That's what he's talking about. The Guru's Kundalini is constantly awakened, but he has control over it. Very often people think that their Kundalini is awakened, but in reality it's not. People often go into the fantasy of the mind, which can be very dangerous also. So that's why Bhagavan Shankar is referring to the one whose pran is steady. Because when the Kundalini awakens, you see that very often in people who do Kundalini yoga, they're always in constant movement. Because when the Kundalini is dormant and it gets awakened, it's like a snake. The Kundalini is represented as a snake, and this energy vibrates. It's almost like a current inside us, inside our body, which shakes the body. But Kundalini awakening doesn't mean only when you see somebody is vibrating. Kundalini awakening means also when somebody has awakened into that state. But yet they have reached a certain level where the pran is stable. They have mastered the breathing. They have mastered the mind. So they are in a calm state. That's what it means, because Pran and Man, they are connected. And that is the mastery he's talking about. And that's what we call breathless state also. And that's where a person enters into samadhi. But to reach such a state of breathlessness, because that consciousness will not awake if the mind is active, because the mind will always run according to our breathing. We have seen that when we are mentally agitated, our breathing has the effect of that. If somebody is breathing very harshly, the mind also runs in different ways. Scattered mind, as we say it. But the ones whose breathing is calm, they are mostly centered within their own self. They are not extroverted, they are called introverted. Here Bhagavan Shankar is saying that it's not only the Kundalini being awakened and the control of the breathing, the focus also has to be steady. So one has seen the blue light, the blue Bindu. One has one's mind focused into a single pointed direction. They're not wandering around. They are totally fixed and centered. And that is very important point. With our sadhana, we got to reach that steadiness. Got to learn how to fix ourselves. Only then we can go beyond, which is called a rupatita. Beyond that Bindu also. And that's called liberation. So when you reach above that, you are liberated. But all this happens only through the grace of the Guru. Without the grace of the Guru, it's not possible. That's what we are learning in this great scripture. So it's a Guru Kripa. Next verse. Agocharam tatha agamyam nam rup vivarjitam nishabdam tad vijaniyat swabhavam brahma Parvati. O Parvati, the absolute is by nature impalpable, difficult to attain, beyond name, beyond form and sound. Agamyam nam rup vivarjitam nishabdam. And then he adds in there, tad vijaniyat. You know this. So here Lord Shiva is saying to Parvati, to attain something that the mind cannot perceive, cannot name, can't understand, can't comprehend. So how do you think you will understand that? Because we cannot understand with our mental capacity or intellectual apprehension. It's beyond that. So that's why he's saying to Parvati, you know how difficult it is. Because you are Yoga Maya yourself. You are the one who casts this Maya. So that you make it difficult for the people to find that, to understand it. But I shall reveal it to you, the deepness of that action of yours. Even though you did it, but I'll explain it. So I shall reveal it to you why you have to do that. Nishabdam tad vijani yat swabhavam brahm Parvati. Swayam sarvmeyo bhutva param tattvam vilokayet parat par taram na anyat sarvametan niralyam. Experience the highest being by becoming everything yourself. So swayam sarvamayo bhutva param tattvam vilokya. Experience the highest being by becoming everything yourself. There is nothing beyond that. All this, the world, is without a basis. So what he's saying is over here in this verse that experience the highest being by becoming everything yourself. So when you meditate, it's not just to sit down and concentrate. We sit down to perceive the supreme reality. We have to see that reality inside us. We have to see in everything to break the barrier of the difference. That is what yoga is, the oneness. Otherwise, one is always in duality. We always think that I'm here, you are there, I am this, you are that. You got to break that barrier. Guru always knows what is inside the heart of each person, because even if he is physically seated somewhere else, Guru is always seated inside our heart also. So the Guru perceives himself as an expansion of himself in everything. So there's nothing beyond that, he says. Prat par taram na anyat. There's nothing beyond that. And all this is without a basis. The world is without basis, he says. Sarvam etan niralya. That means all is only the supreme reality. Everything is just a supreme reality. There's nothing higher, nothing different from the supreme. That's what it means. So if you realize this connection, you realize that everything around you, everybody, the plants, the animals, the trees, the people, are eternally connected. Because there's a flow of energy that creates the balance of this world. That's why when sometimes something breaks through to that higher cosmos, there's a disbalance happening. Probably the disturbance will not happen here. It will happen somewhere else. But that disturbance is due to the break. The one who is aware, they perceive the whole connection. They are inwardly interconnected. Interconnected, because there's only one, not two. Verse number 79. Samudre cha yatha toyam, kashire kshiram grite gritam, bhinne kumbhe yatha kasha, tatha atma paramatmane. Just as water merges in the ocean, milk in the milk, butter in butter. So toya is water, kashir is milk, grit is butter. So just as water merges in the ocean, milk in the milk, butter in butter, the space inside a broken pot, in the space outside, kumbhe yatha akash. The individual soul merges in the universal being. Tatha atma paramatmane. So similar mixes with the similar. So Bhagavan Shankar is saying that whoever surrenders to the feet of the master, whoever meditates and chants the Guru Gita, they become one with the master. The more dedicated they are to the master, the more the light of the master shines through them. Other saints have said the same thing. The infusion of the energy on the disciple, on the bhagat, on the devotees means that a guru always places himself in front of the disciple. Guru is never far from us. Our ego is the one which creates the distance. So that's why he said, whoever remembers me and does the service in my name, I shall be among them. So through the blessings of the Guru, always the disciple places himself at the feet of the Guru. And then there's no difference between the disciple and the Guru. With the help of the total surrender. See, just like a part broken means a part has surrendered. That space inside the part becomes one with the space outside. It's sometimes difficult to reach that level because it takes complete surrender. Not just a little bit surrender. Not surrender once in a while. Complete surrender. You have all heard about Shukdev ji when we studied Bhagavad Purana also. And in other scriptures also his name comes. He was the son of Rishi Vyasa. Rishi Vyasa is the one who penned down the Mahabharata. And he's the one who really put those Vedas into those 4 books. So he compiled the Vedas, Purans, Shrimad Bhagavat, Gita. So Shukdev is the one who narrated that Bhagavat Puran to King Parikshit before he got bitten by that snake and died. If you remember that story from Bhagavat Puran. So Ved Vyasa's son was very knowledgeable due to previous births. It's not just a coincidence. It's our own sadhana. It was his previous sanskars. He had the whole knowledge already inside the womb of his mother, actually. As a child, he used to spend all of his time meditating in the forest near his father's ashram. That was a Shukdev. Shukdev was ever free. While meditating, one day, he had a desire in his mind to go to Vaikuntha, to see Lord Vishnu. When he reached there, the gatekeepers, Jay and Vijay, informed Lord Vishnu of who had come to visit him. But Mahavishnu did not allow him to come inside. They went back outside to inform Shukdev about it and said, we are very sorry, but you have no guru, and those without a guru can never enter Vaikuntha. So such a great sage's son, such a great yogi was not allowed into Vaikuntha because he didn't have any guru. Shukdev returned to his father and said to him what had happened. He was a bit vain and proud, thinking that he was the son of a great rishi, and he had already done so many years of tapasya, so there was no need of a guru. I know it all. So he asked Vyas to advise him. Who shall be his guru? His father said, there's only one guru for you, and that is King Janaka. King Janak was Sita's father. This shocked Shukdev, and he said to his father, "Father, have you lost your mind? What is there in common between a king and a sannyasi? King is not detached. He is not free. How could a king advise a sannyasi? How can I take him as my guru?" Ved Vyas said, "There is nobody else who could be your guru." So with a strictness, Ved Vyas sent Shukdev to King Janak 12 times. And 12 times he returned even before reaching there. Why? Because he had doubts, misgivings inside his mind. He couldn't surrender completely. He didn't want to accept a king as his guru. When he was being sent back to the king for the 13th time, sage Narad took pity on him. And we have seen from other scriptures also, sage Narad has helped many, many other rishis too. So he disguised as an old Brahman. And he went to King Janak. And he said, "There's a young boy. And he has a lot of merits. But still there are some demerits in him too. He is not able to come to you. Please help him." So that's where that story about that bowl of that oil comes into the picture. Because Shukdev was staying in the outskirts of the city. So King Janak sent a bowl full of oil to him. And 2 soldiers on the side. And the instructions were that, "Take this bowl, go around my town. But even if a drop of oil spills out, your neck will be chopped." So he did that. And that is the story you're all familiar with. When he comes back, King Janak asked him, "How was my town? How was my city? Did you enjoy it?" He said, "What city? I was fully concentrated on the bowl of oil because I knew my neck will be chopped if there's any spillage." Then King Janak told him, "Shuk, that's how I live in the middle of all this luxury and grandeur. I see nothing. For every moment, my thoughts are centered on the Lord. Otherwise, I know that I will lose my life." Because this was the doubt in Shukdev's mind. So in order to remove this doubt, King Janak played that role over there. So King Janak's mind was focused on the Supreme Lord himself at all times. He was doing his duty as a king, but his mind was always focused on the Lord, fearing that he would lose his life. So here the King Janak said, "Imagine that the cup is a death, oil is your mind, festivities are the outside pleasures and the splendors of the world. I pass through the world with great caution, so the oil of the mind is not spilled or agitated even. Because even if there's a little agitation in that oil, it will spill out." So all attention, every moment on the Supreme Lord, for even a moment spent, is not thinking of him, would be death to me. After these words, he initiated. So we can see why Lord Shankar is telling Mata Parvati that the most important person in our life is Guru. Is Guru. Verse number 80. Sarvagye yadam ityahaurdehi sarvamyo buddha sadananda sada shanto ramate yatra kutrachit tathaiv gyani jivatma paramatmani liyate ekyen ramate gyani yatra tatra divanisham. After attaining the all-knowing state, an embodied soul becomes everything. Being always blissful and tranquil, such a one delights in his own self, wherever one may be. Sadananda, sada shanto, ramate yatra kutrachit. You could be anywhere, but only after you have reached there. Sometimes we think that, no, we are there, we can just fascinate about it. No, only after you reach there. And the second part is, in the same way, the enlightened person's individuality is merged in God. Tathaiv gyani jivatma paramatmani liyate. He dwells in the bliss of the self day and night. Divanisham. Wherever he is, ekyen ramate gyani. So Bhagavan Shankar is saying that once by the grace of the Guru, one attains the true knowledge, which is called Brahm Gyan. It's not just a knowledge of the mind. It's not a knowledge of this Prakriti, but a knowledge of the self. Only then one attains realization. Because one perceives the same energy which is inside of oneself in everything. That's how a person becomes blissful. Sadananda, sada shanto. So one becomes blissful and calm also. Shanta, the calmness of the mind. Tranquil. Why does one become tranquil? Because one finds all within oneself. Because if you pay attention, why do we become agitated? We are looking for something outside of ourselves. We know we want something, we cannot see it, we cannot get hold of it, we get disturbed. But a jnani is finding all within oneself. There is no need to look elsewhere for the happiness. That kind of happiness, Param Ananda, because that happiness is seated inside of you. Because you yourself become this happiness. You yourself become Sachidananda. This is your true self. You are that. This is what Bhagavan Shankar is saying. You are the eternal bliss. And this may happen wherever you are. There is no time or space. But all is due to the grace of the Guru. The Guru Gita, these verses, through these verses, Lord Shiva is giving us the taste of the Lord himself. He is showing us what this Amrit is, the divine nectar of the Guru. That divine nectar makes us in the blissful state. He says day and night. See, this is the beauty of it. Eken ramate gyani yatra tatra divanisham. Whether it's night outside or whether it's a day. Remembering the Guru doesn't mean to plainly remember him. We should remember Guru with love. That rasa of love has to be there. Not the fear, but love. When a person remembers him with love, only then true bliss will be awakened from within oneself. Let's look at one more verse, verse number 81. Tasye avlokanam prapye sarv sang vivarjitam ekaki nispriha shant tishtita set tat prasadataha. After experiencing the Godhead by the Guru's grace, all your attachments and desires vanish. You become solitary, ekaki, tranquil, and firmly stable in the self. Ekaki nispriha shantaha. So here Bhagwan Shankar said that you can't experience the ultimate by yourself. Even if you try in the hardest way, it is impossible without the grace of a Guru. But with the grace of the Guru, everything which is impossible becomes possible. Here he said that even the Supreme Narayan himself will manifest and reveal himself. Only when there's a grace of the Guru. And what happens from there? Sarva Sangha Vivarjita, your attachments, your desires will vanish. He's talking about the worldly attachments, the worldly desires. Because once a person has experienced the supreme reality, one sees the world completely different. One perceives the world in a different state when one realizes oneself. That means that one's way of seeing this world transforms itself. It changes. You become tranquil. You become firmly stable in the self. Over here, this ekaki does not mean that when a person reaches this state, the person will run away into a cave. That really means that you become more centered within yourself. A person becomes more introverted, less extroverted. One enters the inner calmness, inner peace, and one's mind is fixed. Average person's mind wanders around. It jumps around like a drunkard monkey. That's how our thoughts are. When we are indecisive, sometimes we say yes, and then right away we say no, because we are confused. So, but this person reaching this state is firmly established. When a person has attained the grace of the Guru, and through that, a person has attained the vision of the Lord, experienced the Lord within one's own self, the mind becomes stable. It doesn't jump after that. And there's no trace of doubt. There's no trace of judgment. There's no trace of unsureness inside. Nobody can shake you with their arguments. You are that much fixed because you have experienced it. Just like nobody can shake your opinion about the honey is sweet or not. You have experienced it. The same thing happens with this. Who are we? What our goal is? What Paramatma is? So all of those questions about the Rupa, rupatita, the Pinde, Bindu, that's what he's trying to explain in these beautiful verses to Mata Parvati. And he's also saying that you know it. You already know it. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaye Purnameva Visheshyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much.